probably missed, I probably missed, and some stuff that we probably don't even know about. So let's go ahead and break it down together and see what the real tea is. All right, let's clock it.
Blackest Super Bowl halftime show ever, and for a lot of people, that was the problem. Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl performance was a statement. In an era where America is teetering on the edge of cultural war, where black art and activism are under constant scrutiny and attack, Kendrick stepped onto the biggest stage in sports and delivered the most unapologetically black, politically charged and hip-hop infused halftime show the Super Bowl has ever seen. Now, the road to this performance was not easy. From Lil Wayne drama to his infamous beef with Drake and looming legal threats around his performance of Not Like Us, the stage was set for a showdown. Not to mention that he performed in front of none other than the president, Donald Trump, while delivering a show packed with symbolism that cuts deep into the racial and social divide in America. Some people are calling this the worst halftime show ever, and maybe that's because Kendrick didn't just do the hits like everybody wanted, he did the work. A lot of people miss the symbolism, so today we're breaking down every moment, every message, and why this performance wasn't just historic, it was necessary. Before we even get into the show, we see the whole stadium was lit up like a big red button, which references Kendrick's beef with Drake. Now, the big red button is a symbol of power, destruction, or initiating something major like a missile or a bomb.
I didn't even know about the stadium.
Kendrick and Drake's beef, Drake initially posted this implying that he...
Okay, yo, so I never even seen these screenshots. Listen, comment down below if this is your first time seeing this shit too. Okay, red button even pushed yet is what he said to Drake. Drake talking about, nope, not even close. Tables turn, bridges burn. You live and learn. Bruh, that's a Drake lyric, bruh. Let's continue.
He had something devastating ready to drop, as if he was about to press the big red button to escalate the feud. By lighting up the entire stadium in red, Kendrick turned that symbolism on its head, and it was like he was saying, I am the red button. Kendrick positioned himself as the one in control, dictating the narrative of beef on his own terms. And that wasn't the only piece of symbolism at the very beginning of the show. The stage lit up with controller buttons: square, triangle, cross, and circle, just like a PlayStation controller. Now, there's a few different theories going around.
I did see the PlayStation controller facts. So we did see that the PlayStation controller is supposed to mean like the biggest game ever played, which is a double entendre for the NFL and white America controlling black people. And literally, it was supposed to be a jail prison yard in the middle. So if we play it again, we're going to see that basically the white people in the white America is controlling us as well. Double entendre. Kendrick is just the greatest, but let's continue.
Around for what this actually means. There is the Drake diss theory. One of Drake's diss tracks was called First Person Shooter, where he brags, I am as big as the Super Bowl.
As someone who learned English as a second language, writing has always been something that I feel a little bit self-conscious of. That's why I've been using
Kendrick essentially used Drake's own flex against him, shutting down the beef on the exact platform that Drake had hyped up at the start, which is next level pettiness, but that's exactly what we expect from a Gemini. And
right,
the last theory is life is a rigged game. According to the halftime show art director Shelley Rogers, the symbols were Kendrick's idea, meant to represent his journey through the American dream, but as a black man. Now, I had a look on BET and they took this even further.
Wait a minute, because I never even seen this cover before. It's literally an owl, and it's a video game Kendrick fighting off an owl like a video game. Not like us, the game. Wow. That's hilarious. Yo, this nigga will never cease to amaze me.
But as a black man. Now, I had a look on BET and they took this even further, calling the PlayStation imagery a symbol of how black culture is entertainment for America, but also controlled, manipulated, and commodified. And think about it. Gaming is about control. Who holds the controller? Who sets the rules? who gets to play. Kendrick is using these symbols, exposing the system. Black artists create the culture,
With the
yet
people
they
in the
rarely
box.
own the game. And this is a wider piece of symbolism around him navigating the world as a black man and the games that he
I
has
just
to
watched
play in
Reparations
order to
today.
fit into that system. Then we go into one of my favorite pieces of symbolism in the performance. We have the Black Uncle Sam, played by Samuel Jackson, who was the perfect casting for this role, taking the theory of life as a rigged game for black people even further.
Because
Uncle
he played
Ruckus, Sam says, "Welcome to the American game."
Not
a
Uncle
direct
Ruckus.
call out to
Yes, because
the
he
great
played that dude
American
on
dream
Django.
and navigating it like a black man or a black person. Kendrick Lamar flipped Uncle Sam into a minstrel. He steps into this minstrel-like role, embodying the American entertainment industry's policing of black expression. Uncle Sam has always demanded
basically
everything
dancing
from
like a
Black
monkey
America:
for the white man.
labor, culture, talent, votes, while giving little in return. And here, Kendrick flips that power dynamic. Samuel Jackson is also known for playing minstrel-like characters like Steven in Django Unchained, and his role here reminds me a lot of Uncle Ruckus from the Boondocks, and not only cements the symbolism further. Then we see this entry that looks a lot like the album cover for GNX. A bunch of dancers get out of this car, and they get out of the GNX, but not just any version of the GNX, the 1987 Buick GNX to be exact. Now, if I pronounce that wrong, I'm not a car person, so don't sue me. Most halftime performers descend from the sky or pop out of the stage, but Kendrick pulled up in a Buick GNX. For Kendrick, a GNX means authenticity, as well as being a call out to the cover of the album GNX. For Kendrick, GNX is personal. In a 2012 interview with Complex, Kendrick reveals that his father actually drove him home from hospital in the parent model of the GNX, a Buick Regal. Kendrick was also born in 1987 when Buick released the Regal and the GNX. This car is also a symbol of black culture, especially in the 80s and the 90s. Lowriders, West Coast hip hop, HBCU homecomings. For Kendrick, it's a reflection of where he comes from and the culture that shaped him. For a moment, the performance stops.
He always paid homage to where he's from. Like, he got money,
the revolution will be televised. You got the right time, but the wrong guy. He flips Jill Scott Heron's iconic phrase to declare that this time, black resistance will be on full display and America has to watch, which is
and this time the revolution will be televised, okay? Whether you like it or not, they can hate it all they want to, but y'all gave the wrong one the platform. Now that might have been the biggest move that Jay-Z could have ever did. I mean, I know he made a lot of moves, but like that was just like the black takeover is in full effect, man. The revolution will be televised. I'm telling you.
Really powerful move considering that President Donald Trump was actually watching, highlighting Kendrick's disapproval of the administration's policies and actions. By saying he's the wrong guy, Kendrick is acknowledging the obvious. He's not the usual pop-friendly Superbowl act, and he's also playing into a lot of the criticisms around him actually performing at the Super Bowl. But in a time where racial tensions are high.
Now, I'm from New Orleans, okay, and of course we would want Lil Wayne to perform at the Super Bowl, but the Super Bowl has been to New Orleans multiple times, and they have never gotten Lil Wayne to perform because Lil Wayne does not make family-oriented music. He makes music about fucking and taking drugs and drinking shit. Like, Kendrick, he has a couple of different songs that are at least a little bit more clean or less vulgar, I should say. Okay, so like they not like us. Like, yes, they was able to get away with that. Okay, the other song, even like the Mustard song and all kind of stuff, like it was just more bearable, so it was easier to get in the dough. I love Wayne too. I grew up with Wayne. I would have loved to see him in the Super Bowl, but it's just not gonna happen in this lifetime as far as right now. Or yeah, I hate to say it, but yeah, no. If they was gonna do that, they would have did that when he was first coming out. He was hot and he was making Lollipop. For real.
America feels more divided than ever, he's exactly who needs to be on that stage, whether the audience is ready for it or not. After this, he launches into Squabble Up, which I think is kind of like Kendrick saying that he's ready to throw some hands. He's putting up a fight in this performance. He's showing that he is not backing down. He is in the ring and he is ready to squabble up. And those dancers from before are all in different corners of the stage, split up into their different colors, red, blue, and white. Now, as well as this being symbolism for the American flag and how Black people or American people as a whole are divided, it could also be a nod to how Black people are specifically divided into the Bloods and the Crips, especially with the colors there. When you think of the song playing, Squabble Up, the symbolism around this becomes stronger. But there's also another meaning to this that I will go into a bit later. Now, after this, Black Uncle Sam comes back and he says this is too loud, too reckless, and too ghetto. And he's not just speaking as
that's exactly what them white folks are saying. All right.
He is the voice of mainstream America, the industry, the media, the establishment, who are always trying to keep Black people and Black artistry within acceptable limits. It's identity politics, you know, the model minority. It's almost like he's saying, wait, hold up. That's not how you play the game. That's not how we want you to play the game. And after the performance, what he says is literally how people criticized his performance. Don't dim our light. Stay in your lane. But let's go more into this American flag symbolism, because these dancers are dressed in red, white, and blue, and they flood the stage forming an American flag. And at the center of this American flag, Kendrick stands, splitting them in two, and we see this biblical imagery that Kendrick actually does a lot, and he actually did in the Not Like Us music video. It's a simple but powerful metaphor. America's racial and political divide. Country filled with freedom, yet still struggling with who actually gets to be free. A land of opportunity, yet one where Black culture is celebrated, but Black people aren't always respected. The dancers move in chaos, and their colors shuffle together, again reinforcing the symbolism of division. But this could also be a hint at something more hopeful, unity. A reminder that even in disorder, there is connection. And at a time where the nation feels more fractured and divided than ever, Kendrick is using the biggest stage in America to say that this country has never been as united as it claims to be, but there still might be some hope that we can come together. So when that song ends, we see the lights in the crowd come up, kind of like stars, and they spell out warning, wrong way. And this is another video game reference, especially in like these choose your adventure games or in video games in general. If you go the wrong way, it kind of directs you the right way to go and kind of gives you these subliminal cues on how to play the game the right way. And this could also be a criticism of the establishment in America right now and Trump's regime, or the fact that much of the back half of his set carried on and ultimately concluded the beef with Drake. Then the stage transforms into this street scene and we see steel and concrete everywhere. Now this is a nod to Compton, his home, and perhaps every city where poor Black communities struggle, survive, and thrive. But this imagery also looks a lot like Kendrick Lamar's 2015 All Right video, where Kendrick stood on a street light before being shot by police. Now this is a direct callback to systemic racism, police brutality, and the reality of Black life in America. The dancers also form the shape of a missile or a bullet in this, which further reinforces this theme and is a reflection of police brutality and how America does not protect Black people. Now after this, Uncle Sam comes back and condemns Kendrick and says he's using cheat codes because he brought his homeboys, and he deducts a point of life in his game. And this could symbolize a lot of things, but I think that it talks about how society, especially systemic forces like the government, aka Uncle Sam, punish Black success and community support. thought this could be a shout out to the Tulsa Massacre and Black Wall Street, where Black people actually managed to build community and come together and create this almost utopia, and it was shut down, burned down, and everyone was basically massacred for it. This idea of using cheat codes suggests that Kendrick is leaning on his people, his friends, his culture, his roots, and that's seen as an unfair advantage, even though in reality, controversy, smirking, you know, people like to sue, nodding to Drake's threats to sue him over performing a song that calls him a PDF file. And when he does this, Uncle Sam comes back saying, "Oh, you done lost your mind." And this is where the Drake beef starts to make sense in a wider context, because Kendrick Lamar's core criticism of Drake was that he is essentially a minstrel cosplaying Black culture and all the worst parts of Black culture, and operating as an object and a minstrel of the machine to project these stereotypes and everything the system wants you to believe about Black people, to keep Black people down. He's showing how, in comparison, Kendrick is the opposite of this, and the industry expected him to play it safe and stick to the classics at the Super Bowl like all the other artists, especially with all these lawsuit threats from Drake's team. And for now, Kendrick appeases them, and we go into SZA's performance, which is some...
That's crazy, man. I'm not gonna lie, it's not looking good for my boy Drake. Like, hold on, we gotta rewind it just a little bit. So, that's a crazy ass picture. Yeah, so this, like, it's just no, like, explaining this picture. Like, every time I see it, I'm like, say Drake, what the fuck? Like, for real, because why are you in blackface? Like, dead ass blackface, bro, looking goofy as fuck. And it's no explanation, bro. I'm gonna have to get a video for me to do next, because I've never heard him respond to the madness or explain himself, and I'm a little bit disturbed. Okay, so yeah, like, I can understand why Kendrick is doing this, and like why Drake is seeming like he is a pawn of the industry, because when you do shit like this, it's literally no explaining it. And it's been multiple videos of him resurfacing, just kind of like not being able to rap, but basically stealing raps from other artists when he first blew up, when he was supposed to be freestyling in the booth. He's looking up his phone. I love Drake, man. I love Drake, bro. But it's just not looking good. Like, music-wise, hey, 10 out of 10. But the battle, friend. I don't know, friend. But let's see what else you can see before we go to sleep for the night. Because we gotta do part 2 tomorrow.
And we go into SZA's performance, which is some light relief from all of the tension that's been set up in the performance so far. Almost like a distraction, a culture industry distracting us from what's really going on. And they play the most commercially successful and mainstream of his songs, All the Stars, and probably the only song most of the white crowd watching actually knows. Beyond the surface, people are still divided. He is in blue and SZA is in red to show this. The dancers are also still separated and divided, showing that while we might have this artificial layer of unity, or we may have this distraction of entertainment, we can't cover up the fact that we're still divided as a people. Now, Black Uncle Sam loves this performance, and this reinforces the point again, just in case people didn't get it. And Uncle Sam says, now you're playing the game right. You're not performing Squabble Up, you're not acting too ghetto, you're performing the hits like America wanted. And then Kendrick interjects and interrupts him, and he says a couple of important lines here, but I'm gonna focus on this 40 acres and a mule line. Now, if you don't know, 40 acres and a mule is what slaves were given as compensation when they were set free. Referencing this 40 acres and a mule in a Super Bowl performance ties in directly to the ongoing conversation about reparations, systemic oppression, and the broken promises to Black Americans. Originally promised to formally formerly enslaved people as compensation for their forced labor, this land was later taken back, leaving Black families without the economic foundation that they were actually owed. And by invoking a symbol like this on such a massive stage, Kendrick is reminding America of its unfinished business.
Nigga said, hey, I think I'm gonna have to add a video of me that dancing, doing that motherfucker right there. Y'all ain't gonna lie. My leg a little hurt tonight, but comment if y'all wanna see me hit the Kendrick. We gotta run that shit back. Hold on. He said,
without the economic foundation stage, Kendrick is reminding owed. And by invoking a symbol like this on such a massive stage, Kendrick is reminding America
that's an easy one. That's an easy one. I can do that.
How Black people built this country, but were never truly compensated for the loss that it took to get there. And how that legacy of economic disparity still exists today. This could also speak to how Kendrick won't be bored. And just because he was given this platform, given the opportunity to perform at the Super Bowl, doesn't mean that he is going to take his 40 acres and a mule, shut up and sit down and keep his mouth shut. He is going to use his platform because that's who he is and that's what the world needs. And right after this, Kendrick gets back to business. He also says, you tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence, which is a jab at Drake and his threats to sue Kendrick over what to perform. Again, fitting into this wider video game imagery of other people deciding and controlling what he can and can't say, and also giving a wider view into this conversation around censorship that we're having in America right now. I say we, I live in New Zealand. This is one of the most powerful moments in the performance. It's Kendrick saying that he won't be the minstrel that they wanted. He won't just play the hits. And instead, he made his own kind of spectacle, one that defied the rules and reminded everyone exactly who he is, but also exactly what they should be focusing on. Now, for this song, there's also a very interesting moment where Kendrick turns to the camera and addresses Drake directly, because you know he's probably watching while he's crying in his mansion. And those aren't the only great moments that we got in this song.
Bro,
now,
that
this
dance
was
was
a
literally
moment.
infamous.
Serena Williams, one of the greatest athletes of all time, hits a Crip walk on the stage at the Super Bowl.
Hey, it's the look in the eyes. It's the look in the eyes. She's pissed. Drake, what did you do to Selena? Oh, Drake, what did you do to Serena? Bro, look, it's all in her face. She like, bitch, do not play with me, bro. You know how pissed off you gotta be to Crip walk on your ex on national live TV Super Bowl, millions of people, millions of fucking 6 billion, bitch. Her face says it all. She said, you know what? Fuck this shit. I'm out. And I'm gonna Crip rock on your name. Crip rock on your name. Bro. I gotta screenshot that shit, yo. Cause what?
While Kendrick is performing. And if you missed the backstory, Drake name-dropped Serena Williams and her husband in a diss track last year, calling her man a groupie. Now, Drake and Serena Williams are rumored to be dating, and apparently it didn't end that well. And since the relationship ended, Drake has been throwing bobs.
A new year and a new adventure with the perfect Chevy to take you anywhere. With pure power
sad boy that he is. Now, the Crip walk itself is iconic. It's a dance that's rooted in West Coast gang culture, but also just generally Black culture. And over time, it's become an expression of Black identity. Serena did it after winning Wimbledon, making headlines worldwide. And Serena is also a woman who is often targeted and dragged by the media for her Blackness. And now she's doing something that is so quintessentially Black at the biggest sporting event in white America during a song designed to clown her biggest hater. Now, in this moment, Kendrick wasn't just calling out Drake. He was reclaiming a moment, celebrating a queen, and making sure that hip-hop history was written on football's biggest stage. Now, another thing I wanted to point out is for this song, the division ends and everyone comes together, red, white, and blue, for Not Like Us. And again, this could be a nod to how Kendrick actually united the Bloods and the Crips for the Not Like Us music video because
Yes.
apparently they also hate Drake too. And then we get one of the most
Everybody in that video was
legendary
jamming
moments
and
in the
shit.
performance. The entire crowd singing along, screaming A minor. Coming together in unison to call Drake a PDF file on one of the biggest, most watched American spectacles. And then we also get a little cameo
What a
from
spectacle
DJ
was.
Mustard, who comes out looking like he is so happy to be there. After the song, he
Dressed like some
repeats
mustard.
this phrase at the end of the performance. Turn this TV off, turn this TV off. And this could be a reference to Drake to turn this TV off because the beef is officially over and, you know, he might as well pack it up and go home. But I think it is also a wider conversation about what is happening in America. It's time to stop watching and start doing. It's time
Stay
to
woke, my
wake
friends.
up
Stay woke.
and stop sitting in this state of paralysis and apathy and actually get up and fight for the country that you want to live in.
Exactly, y'all, because it is so much going on, so much more than beneath the eye, y'all. If y'all don't know what's going on in our politics or, like, you know, our U.S. government life and situations, then please tune into the news, at least Twitter, or I won't even say Twitter, but some type of reliable source where you can get your information on a daily basis, because the stuff is changing every day as we speak, you feel me? But the revolution is not always going to be televised. You got to stay woke enough to know what's really going on, okay? Put the pieces together. You're not silly. You're not silly, okay? Kendrick is breaking it down for us, but you know what's in front of us. Alright, we want to know how y'all felt about this video, so if you like this, make sure you give it a thumbs up and comment down below what you thought about this. I think we're going to have to do another breakdown and maybe do a part. What part we on? Hey, check out the next video coming soon, okay? So comment down below if y'all ready for that. But that's all for now, y'all. Until next time, peace.